Hi and welcome back to part 3 of repair of the MTD Snowblower. So today I'm going to start it up and show you what the drive is doing, and we're going to repair this in this video. Notice when I press the drive lever, nothing happens. So as you saw in the video, when I press down the drive lever, nothing happens. I think what the problem is that the cable is too loose and it's not pulling in the drive wheel disc far enough for it to grab. So we'll take it in the shop and we're going to take a closer look. It's easier to work on the drive of your machine if it's up like this. And on this blower, what the problem is the cable under here for the drive lever is way too loose. So to repair this, you're going to need a 1/4 inch wrench and a 3/8. And if the nuts are not loose already on top here, just loosen them up. Since the cable's too loose, we're going to tighten up the cable from the fitting here. So I'm just going to turn it in. You don't want it too tight, but tight enough. A good way to know if you've got the cable at the good setting is when the lever is released, the cable is just going to be slightly loose like this. And you can feel a bit more tightness when you press down the lever now. Now that you've got the cable set at the right tension, just simply tighten up the nuts on there. Insert your 1/4 inch wrench into the cable and then tighten up the nuts. What these nuts will do is prevent your cable from going out of adjustment again or getting loose. Now I've got the belly pan off this snowblower, and you'll notice there's a lot of black grime on there which comes from the friction wheel disc. That needs to be cleaned before you put it back together. A good way to clean this is with a rag and some gas on it. Now to move the disc in a position where you can access it again, just simply turn the engine over until it's in the right spot. Make sure there's no oil at all on that disc. It's got to be nice and clean. Another thing that's good to clean while you've got this apart is the shaft that the friction disc slides back and forth on. So just turn it and clean it all up. Now to move this over here, just simply move the gear shifter. So I've moved the gear shifter over and now this side is clear to clean. The reason why we clean this is because a lot of grease builds up on here, and over the years it gets really stiff and it's really hard to switch gears because the grease has gotten way too hard. One last thing to clean too, with some gas as well, is the friction disc. You can just put your rag on like this and turn the wheels and it's just going to turn around and clean itself. Look at the dirt coming off of that. So this is all the crud that came off from the friction wheel and the disc and the shaft. It's quite a bit. So you can see how dirty that was. It may not have looked dirty just by looking at the shaft and that, but there's a lot of stuff that came off. Now while you've got this apart, and before we put it back together, it's a good time to put a bit of grease on the moving parts. First of all, I'm going to put a bit of grease on the shaft here. It's a low temp grease, and just put a film of grease on every side of that shaft. If you want to access the other side of the shaft, move the gear shifter again. Once you've done that, move the gear shift back and forth to work the grease. If you see any grease dripping, clean it up so that it does not go on the friction wheel. Next, we're going to grease the gear here. So now we'll just put the belly pan on and we're going to try it out. First of all, you have to insert your belly pan in the grooves here. And then bring it up. And this is a 3/8 socket, by the way. While you've got your blower up like this, you can take advantage of it to oil the little wheels here for the cables, and over here for the drive. So I'm going to take the blower outside and we'll see just how the drive works. So it runs really good now. So all it was the cable that was loose, and it probably helped that the friction wheel assembly was cleaned as well. It's not a machine that's been abused, so it's still in really good shape. Now I've got this blower all fixed up. She's ready to go. I'm not going to keep this one because I've already got 2 other blowers. So I'm going to hang on to it till next winter.